It's that time of the year, so we're ranking the best esoteric anime, RPG maker games of 2025. Here are the rules. The games must be built on some version of RPG Maker, they have to have come out this year, and we're going by the Steam port release date, rather than any original DL Site one. Also, I have to have played the game, so that means you won't be seeing any Western titles on this list, simply because I don't really engage with those. One last thing, I don't always fully complete every game, so it is possible that some of these entries fall apart later on. All right, with all that out of the way. Dragon Conqueror is a fairly standard RPG Maker affair, all things considered, but its combat does stand out a bit by requiring you to manage stamina and armor condition. The scenes are quite good. Almost every enemy type has their own unique event scenario. And while the dev doesn't have the most intricate art, he knows how to make simple, appealing character designs. The story has a mysterious initial hook, but it sure takes its time to make progress on this plot thread. All in all, the game doesn't do anything you haven't seen before, but you could certainly do a lot worse. Amelie Falls over and over again is a frustrating game because it has so much potential. The player must go undercover as a new student in a prestigious magical academy, but soon finds themselves trapped in a mysterious time loop and must gradually progress through a dungeon crawl to uncover the truth. I got the impression it was going to be a Persona-like, with its initial emphasis on school life routine, but the game is actually a lot more linear than you would expect, so there's not as much player freedom as I was hoping. Having said that, the scenes are pretty good, with well-done art and scenarios that make use of the time loop framing to go extra hard with its events. Overall, the game is fine for what it is. Perhaps it's a bit unfair of me to expect some kind of fleshed-out time loop Persona game from an indie RPG Maker dev, but a man can dream, can't he? Sol Rui, after Mini, is one of the more bizarre games on the list. It's a kind of scattershot of a bunch of different gameplay ideas. Trapped in a demon's mind palace thing, you need to jump between various scenarios with vastly differing game styles and settings. One might be a sci-fi nightclub where the heroine must improve her standing to reach the VIP rank, and another might be a fantasy roguelike RPG. Probably the best thing about the game is the animations for its scene content. There was quite a bit of effort put into the live 2D events. And there is loosely shared progression between all the scenarios, which affects the ending. All in all, an odd game that switches between a couple of different tones, but I think it pulls it off well. Black Souls is an infamous series among this genre. The fact that both of these games finally got a port is nothing short of a miracle. But while the first game is respected, it's really the sequel that most people refer to when bringing up the series. There's a lot of secrets and intricacies to discover that makes it one of those RPGs that you endlessly mull over. However, I have never been that big a fan of these games' actual scenes. I get that the sketch aesthetic is a part of the game's identity, but it hardly makes for appealing visuals, and that's a large part of what I'm in this genre for. It doesn't matter how appropriate it is to the deeper themes or whatever. If me don't get pretty picture, then me not happy. But I still heavily respect this series for its story and gameplay ambitions, thus I'm placing it this high on the list in honor of those achievements. First is Lilia the Fallen Flower in the Prison City, which is one of those comfort food games. The art is pleasant and the scenes are competent, plus the dual protagonist perspective makes for some interesting scenarios. If you've played one of this dev's games before, then you won't find much new here, but maybe that's not such a bad thing. Next we have Life in the Janitor's Room with a JK Girl, which went under most people's radar, but its tags and character design hit all the right levers for me. The life sim gameplay is very simplistic, but the scenes are pretty good. I particularly like this minigame, which requires managing the heroine's alert status. Also, I guess the monochrome aesthetic is officially in vogue because I've been seeing more and more games use it. Lastly, Fallen Priestess, My Sister's Demonic Bloodline. I feel kinda obligated to mention this game because I think it's actually a pretty well put together pseudo life sim dungeon crawling RPG with an emphasis on alchemy crafting. That all sounds like good stuff. However, the scenes are very obtuse to get. You can go hours without seeing anything of substance if you don't know what you're supposed to be looking for. I respect it, but I'd be lying if I said my playtime didn't mostly leave me frustrated and confused. Magical Girl Konoha. Where do I even begin with this one? It's the only true 2D open-world game I think I've ever seen. You can freely swim in water and climb cliffs, which is not just crazy for an RPG Maker game, but a top-down game in general. There's so many systems to this thing. You can steal, play cards, capture monster girls, even get a house, which boosts your stats depending on how you decorate it. There's a pretty intricate mechanic for carrying extra. If this happens to the heroine, then it's possible that you permanently lose your magic powers for the remainder of the game. There's honestly so much to this game that it can feel kinda overwhelming. My only real issue is that some of the scene art can have kinda inconsistent quality. But ultimately, it is a very impressive work, especially for this engine, and that's why I feel it is the winner of 2025. All in all, quite a strong year for this genre. Although if you're really into the Western scene, then I'm sorry, there probably wasn't much in this list for you. Looking to RPG Maker ports in 2026, I hope we finally get Ariadne. It has a pretty large world to explore, with a lot of varied scenes. But from what I'm told, the developer disappeared from the internet or something, so chances for the port are pretty slim. Anyway, if any of the games mentioned piqued your interest, then I urge you to give them a shot. And if you're curious about these devs' other projects, then you can always check their CN to see what they're currently working on. As always for these games, remember to apply the publisher's patch to the Steam version before playing. Thanks for watching, and if you want the unaltered version of this video, then check the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe.